Nampa is one of Idaho's fastest growing cities, but with that growth comes some really difficult questions.
Bottom line, do I feel like overall growth is paying for growth?
And that's just the beginning.
Nampa's 135 years old. No, the infrastructure's not, and we're finding out week after week that we're having maybe something break.
The infrastructure is getting older and housing isn't exactly as affordable as it used to be.
My concern is to be able to have the opportunity to buy a home. And,
We're covering it all.
you know, Nampa police are not able to go to every call and so on.
Here's my interview with Nampa Mayor Bruner. You are the new mayor of Nampa. You've been in for a month, 2 months?
4 weeks now.
4 weeks, right on the nose.
Today will be for 4 weeks.
So you kind of got in a little bit of an unconventional way. And I was just trying to explain this to somebody 2 days ago, I think, and I wasn't totally versed in how the whole process works. So explain a little bit of the backstory and then how we're sitting here with you as the mayor now.
Okay, it's a long story, so I'll try to really make it brief. The main thing is no one in Nampa was expecting this, and to lose a man of faith and family and brilliance in Mayor Rick Hogaboam at 47 years old. So that was really, no one knew exactly how to handle that. So the process was long to many citizens, quite frustrating, but I think overall it was handled well. It just needed, the council was divided on who they wanted to serve in this role. And so there was some time to kind of just evaluate and decide on the process for who the final person would be. So there again, that was a lengthy process, several votes taken.
Right.
And I won't go into details on that, but then in the end, there was a 4-2 vote. So not a unanimous, 4-2 vote that my name would be brought up and also confirmed for mayor for a year and a half. That'll be through 2027. Election will take place in November of 27, and the new mayor will actually take office in January of 28.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So it was just city council that decided all that. There was no public input on.
No, I mean, there was, of course, there's always in social media, always public input,
Yeah,
whether you ask for it or not. Yeah. But no, it was totally a council decision.
Gotcha.
And that's why there was only 6 council people and, of course, no mayor. That's why there were a few ties.
Yeah. So starting off with a banger right off the bat, growth is one of the biggest questions that a lot of people have. And over the last 5 years, we've had a lot of it, more than anybody could have guessed. So is there anything, how is the city balancing growth, meeting current residents' needs, but also projecting into the future to meet the growth demands?
That's a very challenging question, and it'd be easy for me to kind of just shy away from it. But we are there again. Mayor Hogaboam was a strategic thinker.
Right.
So he left several pages, in fact 6 pages of an action plan prior to his death. Didn't have all the avenues and so on to accomplish everything, but what his dreams and objectives were, they were laid out. And he was very data-driven.
Yes.
Okay? And I'm not sure how many folks here in Nampa we will need to take to replace his brilliance in that area. But as far as how we're going to handle growth, we've had meetings about 4 weeks ago, and our chief financial officer, Doug Racine, feels like we can do data, especially we're going to start with rooftops of 100 more and annexation situations. But hopefully we can actually drill down to whether it's paying for itself or not. And that's the question that most citizens have, just not only in Nampa, but throughout, is growth paying for growth?
Yeah. Yes.
And in each situation is a little different. So to just say, yes, it is, or no, it's not, that's not the case. My concern is, I consider you young. I'm not sure how old, but you're your age and younger.
Yeah.
To be able to have the opportunity to buy a home. It may not be at 25 like the average was for several decades, but maybe it's going to be later. But still have the opportunity to live in this area, live where you want, without having to move away, and not be raising your family where you want to raise them.
Right.
And so that means we need attainable housing. And so the key to that, in my estimation and Rick's, was it needs to make sense. He was in favor of infill, if everyone knows what infill is. So, so rather than sprawl outside of the area, he wanted to do everything we could to incentivize growth inside. And some people are in favor of that, some are not. Our main, I think he would say today, that if you have folks driving in for their necessary needs, whether it's groceries, medical, et cetera,
right,
then your roads and everything else are going to be utilized. If people are in sprawl, you have police going much further. You have fire going much further. And so that's the reason that, at least my philosophy in my short time in this, and I think our directors and so on, and our P&Z public, public folks will be in favor of doing all we can to bring that a little more compact in the city of Nampa. So that's a long answer to it, and it doesn't give it total solutions, but we're each development, the main thing is we're going to look at quite closely if it's 100 rooftops in an annexation situation to start with.
So a few questions with that, and I know this first one is going to be that growth paying for growth. That's, I think, one of the biggest things that I see online that people complain about is that it doesn't appear that growth is paying for growth. And I think there's a state legislature issue when it comes to funding and impact fees that the developers and the builders have. So as we're sitting right now, explain how that whole process works and if growth is paying for growth.
Well, and I know the legislature is taking a hit on for the last 3 years on Bill 389. And where new construction and so on, that the maximum limit for municipalities is 8%.
Right.
And I don't quote me on this, but I think over those few years, I think Nampa has lost potential revenue of over $4 million. Okay, and that's, I mean, you say, well, how far does that go? Well, it's just part of it that needs to be there. So our hands are tied to a certain extent, and we have to realize that. And bottom line, do I feel like overall growth is paying for growth? I just met with all the mayors, Eagle, Caldwell, Star wasn't there, Meridian, Boise. Not one of them would say that currently in their areas that overall growth is paying for growth. Because the roads down the line, your police officers, you have to hire more police officers. Of course, the fire here is a district, so that's a little different situation. But they're considering going ahead and merging with CUNA, so they can have more functional fire stations and be closer when they do need to act, and and be at a fire or whatever the situation may be. So I think that's a thing that'll be discussed here highly with the legislator. We'll see how things fall here and when they meet again in January, and but I think there's going to be quite a bit of lobbying by municipalities, especially in the Treasure Valley, that we maybe can get a few changes and let the cities decide rather than putting penalties on them. So that's kind of straight out, but that's just the way I feel.
Yeah. And then when it comes to density, this is something that I see on Facebook all the time. And when I'm talking to people, they don't want to see, well, locals, it seems, they don't want to see high rises. They also don't want to see houses that are 3 feet away from each other, whatever the minimum setback is, 5 foot from each other. They'd like to see larger properties, but with larger properties, then we have to sprawl even farther, and then the prices go up. What's the plan on balancing sprawl versus growth and density, and how that all plays together?
Well, that's there again, that's a tough one. I don't know if have you seen Nampa's downtown plan?
Yeah.
You've seen the downtown. I'm looking over here. We have some wonderful ladies sitting right over here. So the downtown plan, I'm not sure if hopefully that'll come to fruition, how high that the apartments will go up, but it's going to house 200 plus downtown. And I personally don't have a problem with us going up several stories to do that.
Yeah.
I think for our businesses downtown and so on, they want individuals living in their area so they can walk and whatever to their businesses, their restaurants, etc. And so that's my hope. As far as you tell me, because I've heard different things. Could you work anywhere remotely? Or would you have to be here?
Like we're here in this place for this interview, and then I have to go out and show houses.
But you, and then so your
somewhat.
situation is a little different. But a lot in your age demographic, from what I'm hearing, is they want to be able to go wherever
Sure.
to be able to work. If they need to go overseas and work for 2 weeks, then great.
Yeah.
So they do not want, they want quality homes, but not
Sure.
necessarily large and big yards and so on.
I can
So
see
when
that.
you say that proximity, like a cottage type situation, from what I'm hearing, that's a lot of young people especially favor those type of
Sure.
situations. And you have your older folks that are retired and so on, that they're not ready to even though it's a power mower, to push that on several square feet of grass and all that. So I think that's just depends on the preference and demand.
Yeah.
So we'll look at that closely.
So getting into that downtown Nampa thing, and I don't remember who brought it up to me, but Nampa is the only town in the Boise area that doesn't have like high density housing in its downtown area. Caldwell just built they've got a new apartment complex, and all those people are what's supporting those downtown businesses.
Right.
So
That's
like,
our hope.
Yeah, this is a huge need that needs to happen in there. So do you think with that density coming into downtown Nampa that more businesses and restaurants and stuff like that will set up shop?
Well, from the
downtown Nampa?
professionals, Colliers, etc.,
Mhm.
they're saying definitely.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm in the listening and learning mode, and I will be in that for my time in office.
Yeah.
And so those are the folks, the professionals in the different areas, are the ones I'm gonna listen to closely. So they are advocating. And the other thing I might mention, you're probably aware, but the Nampa Development Corporation, that's an urban renewal area down there.
Mm-hmm.
So they will be sunsetting in 2030. But they currently are paying for the infrastructure and working on this. This is not the taxpayers of Nampa.
Okay.
Right now it's the NDC, and when they're hoping to get this project accomplished before it does sunset, and then it will turn over to the city of Nampa.
Okay.
Okay. The city of Nampa gets tax benefit after that fact, but there again with 389, that's going to be only 80%. Is all that's going to be turned over to Nampa once the NDC sunsets. So that's a change also from the state legislature that hopefully in the next 2-3 years can be adjusted.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So getting into well, everything's about money. No matter which way we shake it. Nampa has always been and we were ranked for 7 years in a row or 8 years in a row as one of the most fiscally responsible cities in the entire US. However, we do have some deferred maintenance going on a lot of stuff. So give us a little backstory on what that goes, deferred maintenance wise, how we're gonna work forward through that, and then
there again, those who we're going to be talking to a team of folks. I'm just my personal nature, and it's been several decades that I came out of the business world. But yes, you research, but you do it in a timely fashion and you make decisions. And so on that, here in the next year or so, we'll make decisions how we go about that. But the Nampa citizens will need to decide. What we have there is we have so many new folks that have moved in. In most cases, they're moving in from the west.
Yeah.
Okay. They sell their homes for a lot more money, even though Nampa's prices are rising all the time. But a lot of them have been able to come to Nampa or other areas and pay cash for homes.
Yeah.
Okay. Some of those are new developments. Infrastructure there is, guess what? Probably going to last for another 50 years. Nampa's 135 years old. There are many folks that have been living here for decades. No, that infrastructure's not, and we're finding out week after week.
Yeah.
That we're having maybe something break. And you're a knowledgeable young man. You know that if you react to something, it usually costs a lot more than if you can prevent it.
Yeah.
In fact, I was just out yesterday with our director of traffic, Crystal, and she showed me 4 different culverts that are just eroding. In fact, they had to have some barrels over some areas, or a dog or a child could fall in near that water area. There were such large holes.
Wow.
And so I'm sorry, I'm not running for office, but I'm going to be advocating that Nampans, whether you're new or whether you're old, you come together, and we have to take care of that deferred maintenance. And I'm as fiscal conservative as anybody when I was 8 years on council, but we got to put out some money, and the
Right.
public needs to do that now.
Yeah.
And so there's going to be probably some requests for some increases, but we have a communications director that's the best, and we're going to be transparent. We're going to put out the facts, and then the citizens can decide whether they want the city to keep deteriorating, or if we're going to start doing some preventive maintenance on it.
Right. So with that, when you say the citizens are going to vote on that, would that be in the form of like temporary levies or permanent levies?
Could
Or
be. There again, that'll be decided.
Okay.
Could be an override levy, and we just have to decide it. And we have the same challenge with public safety. We have to decide. We are way behind with our officers and also pay compared to other municipalities in the area.
Our police department is phenomenal, though. I've gone and checked out all the stuff they do.
You think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're probably the best.
And say a little side note, I just attended a junior high police academy. We had middle school kids that spent this past week every day working with a police officer. It was a 1-to-4 ratio.
Wow.
And they just went through the fire department too. The fire department worked with it. And they just had their graduation yesterday. And they started this 3 years ago. The police department did that. They did a high school also 2 weeks ago, and they actually had them acting like police officers. You know, they didn't have live loaded guns, but they were taking down bad guys and actually doing the drama, the whole thing out. So, man, is that not great that we have? Well, I think there was probably 80, maybe plus kids in those few weeks that they're learning, and maybe some will become police officers. But what they learn is they learn that how public safety is so important,
right?
And what these men and women are going through, you know, even in Nampa and this area, you know, their lives are at risk. Yeah. Okay. But that they can then be future leaders in some way or another because they see these police officers taking charge and leading. So those type of programs, I hope we do more and more. Yeah. I've told Amy, our communications director, my passion in this year and a half is going to be young people. They're our future, and of course we just talked about how do we keep them so they can actually live here, work and live here. But we have to have the opportunities. And Rick, he expressed this in so many ways. You have to have parks. You have to have areas for kids. Right. I'm a very strong advocate of any new development having a pocket park, but having it focused on kid type activities. Right. So people don't have to go too far to actually be with their kids, be able to watch their kids, and also watch them have a lot of fun. Right. So,
with that being said, it reminded me. So a lot of people don't realize that with any new development that's approved in Nampa, there's, 15% green space?
That's a minimum.
Minimum 15% green space. A lot of people don't even realize that there is a minimum in any aspect. But I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I think that was when I was it wasn't just me. I mean, but when I was on council three or 4 years ago, we put that in place as something that had to happen. And so developers, and that's so important because for developers to know what expectations are. Right. Before they start trying to pencil out whether it's going to work for them financially or not. Yeah. So that's one area.
Yeah. Getting back to deferred maintenance, a sore subject for a lot of Nampa residents, obviously the Idaho Center. So the whole situation with that, I guess, was the cost to refurbish it was going to be more of a burden to the city of Nampa, from my understanding, than it was worth. So transferring ownership over to CWI to take over that. Looking back, was that transfer of ownership the best thing that we could have done to CWI?
You know, it's a pretty general basic answer, but time will tell. And let me just show a little bit of my transparency here. Yeah. I have no problem at all with CWI running the Idaho Center. In fact, philosophically, I don't think municipalities and government entities should be competing with private. I'm a capitalist, through. But what I was not in agreement with, and I let my voice be heard, hopefully in a respectful fashion, was for something of that much value, and there was question how much value there actually was. Right. But you don't just convey it with a gift. Yeah. So I'm hoping, and CWI is such a great entity and having this area. I mean, how they're helping young people get certified and be able to do jobs that are amazing and pay well, and they may start athletics, but I mean I'll say right here, CWI, you're a wonderful community partner, but that's where we're talking about. There was verbiage on having another rec center there. But there's nothing in the contract on that. There was a verbiage on having another sub police station there. So I will advocate right here and now, CWI, that verbiage. Let's make it happen.
So there's nothing set in stone with that. It's
Nothing set in stone on the contract, which disappointed me.
Right.
But I was not a part of that. So.
Yeah. You mentioned the rec center. So we have the Harwood Rec Center, which was built in the 90s when Nampa's population was 30,000 residents, and now we're just a little bit above.
You think we're getting close to 130,000? Yeah.
Yeah. So, is there any plans for a new rec center in the future?
I mean, rather, it's going to take dollars.
Right.
There again, you just heard me say it would be we're a rec center, but I would be in favor of a private entity taking that on.
Sure.
There again, they're going to have to make sure it pencils. But if CWI wants to put in a public area.
Right.
To me, that's I mean that for the opposite ends. I mean, we have the south end, and then we'd have the north end. I mean, to me, that's ideal for the growth of Nampa. So, kind of waiting and seeing, and if they happen to listen to this, they'll hear my voice, which I'm not saying I have that much influence, but hopefully they'll consider it strongly. And of course, we will be voicing our opinion as a city with CWI. Number one, how much we respect them and appreciate them being here, but also to partner in certain ways with the community. So
you'd be surprised how much influence you have on people. Before we get to the rest of the video, I just wanted to take a minute and introduce the channel sponsor. Hi, it's me. My name is Isaac Crace. I'm a born and raised Nampa resident. My family has been here in Nampa for going on 4 generations now. So, got a little bit of back history into the city of Nampa. My mother and I, we created the All Things Nampa website, Facebook page, YouTube channel, and the newsletter because there was a huge need for this in Nampa. We've got events, things to do, all sorts of stuff like that posted on the website. So if you aren't already signed up for the newsletter and you want up-to-date information about everything that's going on in Nampa, including interviews like this, you can sign up for that in the newsletter. They go out every single Friday, and prior to this interview, we sent out a newsletter, and in that newsletter, you had the opportunity to respond and ask your most pressing questions for the interviews. So if you sign up for that newsletter, you have the opportunity prior to all of these interviews that we're doing to ask your own specific questions and have your most pressing questions answered by city officials. So if you're living in Nampa and want to be in the loop of everything that's going on in Nampa, be sure to subscribe to the All Things Nampa YouTube channel. Check out the website, get in the Facebook page, All Things Nampa, and get signed up for that newsletter so that you get an up-to-date newsletter every single Friday about what is going on in Nampa, Idaho. Back to the video. Here was a viewer writing question that we had. So we've got a ton of road construction and development going on in Nampa. Obviously, with road construction, we're shutting down roads for certain periods of time. One of the viewers that wrote in is one of the people that runs Old Country Sausage down here across from the post office.
Great place, by the way. I'll promote them right now.
They've got phenomenal food. Go in and get their sausages and all that stuff. But with all the road construction that's going on, obviously it's having an impact on how much traffic they get to the business. So is there anything that the city of Nampa could do when it comes to shutting down roads to try and help keep businesses' traffic going?
You know, and I wish I was an engineer and construction guy, and I could give you just a really short set answer to that. My main thing is communication. And as I told you earlier, this year and a half, I'm going to be listening and learning, and hopefully people that are very proficient in their skills and sets and so on, I'll be taking that information. My main challenge is communicate. So if you're going to do something, as an example, in front of this business in Nampa, let them know as far ahead as possible when you think the funds are going to be there, when it's actually going to be able to take place. You're not going to be able to put an exact date, but so they have expectations. Let them know what it's going to involve. If it's going to be street closure for a day or a week or whatever the case is.
Sure.
My other frustration, and you don't solve it overnight, but I know our people want to be good about it, is if you're tearing up a sidewalk or a curb, say downtown, don't come back a year later and start tearing up the street. Get it done. Communicate, and some of that's not only with we are a full service city.
Mm-hmm.
So we do our own streets, water, wastewater, the whole package, where most municipalities do not. So sometimes we have Idaho Transportation Department, Ada County Highway.
Right.
If we have a situation out north of Nampa here where 3 different entities are working at the same time, well, communicate a little better, will you?
Right.
Okay, and that, I mean, that comes from us too, just not them. But for citizens' sake, we need to think of them, and there's what Rick, I think, actually defined this. There's a time tax. If it's taking you 15, 20 minutes longer than it did earlier, that's a time tax. And if that happens day after day after day, that really accumulates.
Sure.
So I mean, let's think of our citizens first. Yes, we have to get these projects done, just like we were talking about preventive maintenance, but let the citizens know, let the businesses know ahead of time, and then what the expectations are, and then do it all at once. Let's not be dragging it out and coming in several times and causing the same effect we had on that. Yeah. If it can just be one time.
So with the communication between like ITD or other highway districts, how much weight do you guys actually carry in that?
That's a good question. And I tell you the truth, I'd have to ask that question to Crystal Craig, our director of traffic. She was with the state.
Okay.
And so she has wonderful contacts over there. And so I think with her, and we have, I think, a couple other people that have worked for the state, I think we have more, as you said you think the Nampa has more influence than I'm putting out there. I think we probably have more influence. I need that there again, though. I need to just have that conversation.
Yeah.
And make sure she is. We have so many superstars. 4 weeks, I've been around practically every department. I am so impressed.
Yeah.
I was with the chipping crew yesterday. I was on top of that. They wouldn't, of course, let me drive it, which was a smart move. But I was with them. I was with the fleet.
Okay.
And I had no idea that mechanically we can do anything.
Yeah.
Lawnmowers to fire engines to whatever.
Yeah.
And they're going to be getting a new building here soon, next year.
Really?
Expansion. So they hopefully can even start doing for other counties, for other municipalities, because they have the skill sets to be able to do that. So that's our hope. So we have more influence than when I think that we maybe we were being a little bit too humble in that area.
With Nampa being a full service city, I've explained this to a lot of folks, and I don't think they realize how good we have it. Like with Ada County's got the highway district. So like Star, for example, Star is split. Half Canyon County, half Ada County. The half that's in Canyon County is run by
I don't know how Mayor
Star.
Chadwick handles that. He seems to be able to, but yeah.
He's a saint. He's a saint. So City of Star got Highway 44 on the Canyon County side fixed up and nice years ago. And the Ada County side, it just got shoved further and further down the to-do list. So you've got this nice highway on one side of the county line, and then this 2-lane highway on the other side. So just that's my example for the city of Nampa. We don't have this huge area that we have to encompass. If there's something that needs to happen that's city of Nampa specific, we can actually go in and take care of that. And
you're seeing that on Levitt, and I feel like there was years of engineering mistakes. But hopefully we're finally getting that solved as far as for traffic, downtown, when sugar beet trucks don't have to go all the way first and through. So we're working on that. Yeah. The other thing, it'll maybe after my lifetime, I hope not, but is Highway 16. Right now there's not plans to have a south access coming in, and it would be very beneficial. But I know Compass is advocating for that. There again, as you said earlier, it takes money. But that's going to be huge if we can get further access on the south side for the folks that are living in that area.
Right. You don't have to comment on this if you don't want to, but one of the big gripes that I've told several people over the last couple of weeks, and I don't even know if it's in Nampa's district or what it is, if there's a split in districts, is the reason it's happening. Middleton Road is closed. The Middleton access to 2026. Star Road access to 2026 is closed.
Now, that's what I was talking about.
Those are the only 2 lights on the west end of the valley. talk about a major PITA?
Oh, no. And to me, there again, it's crazy. You're not taking care of your citizens, and then you're causing this time tax that Rick advocated against. And so, I mean, just work together,
Right.
collaborate, and that's what I'm seeing in Nampa here. I'm so proud of how the different departments, they're a team. They're, I mean, not. Anyway, we did a budget workshop this week. Actually got done before noon, which was from all indications a record. We had 2 days set aside for that. The reason for that is we had different departments that were willing to listen to our CFO, our Chief Finance Director, and say, hey, this is where we need to land budget-wise this year. And so it wasn't, as I experienced when I was on council for a few years, every director, every department head coming in and lobbying, which you would. It's kind of like a coach for a team. You know, you're in the lobby for your people.
Right.
I mean, that makes sense. But they had worked together ahead of time prior to, and then with the help of our council president, David Bills, suggesting a little different process, we were able to get through that. Like I said, by 11:30, we were done. So that was a little miracle in my. I wouldn't have believed that prior to. So.
Next big one was some viewer questions. How much credence does the city of Nampa give to public input? Because a lot of folks feel like decisions are made before they go out to the public, and the public's input isn't taken into
Are
account.
you focusing more on development type decisions, or just generally?
In general, probably more so in developments like the Idaho Center.
Okay, let me just give you my philosophy. And so there again, it's short term because we're talking about a year and a half. I do not have any control over these 6 people. I have respect for every one of them. We don't always agree on things, and that's not the way you want a council to run, is where everyone's totally in agreement. But to me, and a couple of them have already done it, but they need to be. There's 6 districts in Nampa. You know, that was something new here 3 years ago. So they need to be out, in my opinion, in their districts, holding town halls. I would suggest a minimum of 2 per year, and they actually hold them not here, but in their district, where people don't have to travel as far. Communications director Amy is setting up for people to come to, you know, she's calling them meet the mayor. I don't know, but mainly for people to coffee time where they can meet the mayor. I've done a breakfast back when I was on council. I've done a listening breakfast down at LeBaron's for 10 years. And Mayor Kling, who I appreciated so much, I served with her for 6 years. And once I was off council, my term ended, she said, please keep doing that. Have our department people or whatever come and you know, since it wasn't me on council anymore. So we're continuing that. And so there is listening. The thing is with development, the process, and I think you're probably aware of this, but in most cases, unless it's a conditional use permit or something of that sort, it does go through planning and zoning, and usually that's maybe 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And if it's more than just a CUP, then it comes before council. Well, council doesn't even see what that's about until 4 days before the council meeting. Okay? And so it's not where they're, in my estimation, unless someone is not following the legality of the whole situation, they're not making total decisions more than 4 days prior to. And I'm hoping that in all cases, the public hearing, which we have those on Monday, first Monday and third Mondays, that we are listening to the folks. Now, reality, those who are like a development area, who's going to show up at most of those hearings?
Right.
The folks that are opposed. Okay? And so you need to take that into consideration, but you need to take in the more general population also. And what's going to be best is this location.
Yeah.
Does it make sense? Is it best for the future of Nampa? In all respects. When we already talked about safety, police, you know, fire, roads, how far they're having to travel, the density, those things that all need to be considered. And we have a comprehensive plan. In fact, we're currently taking input. And that's Amy, is that going to be through 250? Yeah. So I look to my folks here to give me facts. So Yeah, so that's in place. But if we have a comprehensive plan and input from the council and from the citizens, that what's important there is developers then need to be aware of it also.
Right.
So it's pencil out. We have, we were going back to growth, paying for growth. We have impact fees. Star is actually doing something. They're doing mitigation fees. There's some question.
Interesting.
So that's how they're doing a lot of their improvements. Their park and all that. If you talk to Mayor Chadwick, you might want to interview him again, because he's there's some legality things, but it hasn't been questioned yet. So Nampa needs, if things are working for other municipalities, we need to be looking at. What happens though, so it's a two-edged sword, is impact fees, and then what they're doing in Star. And I think Mayor Chadwick would be the first to admit to it. The developer, in most cases, will pass, as long as there's the demand. We're all about supply and demand. If there's a demand for the home, especially people moving in that have a lot of money, they just pass that on to the buyer.
Right.
And so how does that for attainable housing?
Yeah.
It doesn't help. As long as the pricing is still going up, it's going to be tough for our young people to find houses. So you
can't tax your way out of everything.
Here we have all this deferred maintenance, so we have other ways of getting millions of dollars. You speak to that, but then also you may be hurting another area. So there's some tough calls to be made.
That actually reminded me of a question. So Idaho just made their a new state law regarding additional dwelling units or
ADUs.
Yeah, density. How is that affecting the city? And
I'd have to talk to our planning and zoning director, Rodney Ashby, on that.
Okay.
I'm not sure if any are going in currently, but it's state law, so it's not where we're going to be able to prevent on individual properties as far as additional dwellings.
Yeah.
So we'll have to look. I know that had been done in California, and like anything, there's a positive and negative comments as far as how that's working. But so we'll have to follow the law unless it's changed. And I don't really have an opinion on that at this point in time.
We need to see how it plays out. Yeah, one of those double-edged swords.
Yeah.
What is, we've talked about all this stuff. Is there a main issue that's facing the city of Nampa that people aren't aware of or aren't talking enough about?
I think we have a very smart citizenry. I think they're aware of most things. I wish when it's time to vote and so on, our percentages for people to get out and make their voices heard is not usually very, very high. But our Amy, our communications director, another superstar here that I keep mentioning, she does a survey every year, and public safety is number one. But there again, we don't have a great number of citizens so I'm hoping that they feel that way, even though maybe they're not being affected, especially if they're in a newer subdivision or whatever.
Right.
But we have a challenge in that area. Nampa police are not able to go to every call and so on because of lack of officers and other things going on. So I think their citizens are aware. But I think it's just a matter of they need to realize that we need to keep, as growth happens, we need to be there again, careful where our developments are going and what the cost is, but also knowing that if we're going to have proper public safety, and for not only the citizens, but for our police officers, that we are going to need to really encourage them with more police officers and probably higher salaries. So that's probably the one area that I don't think that people are not aware, but they just need to be reminded. Yeah.
So what's the biggest way that the citizens could help with that?
Well, I think if we do need to do something down the line for the police to get more funds for them, then that's they'll need to go to the polls and vote for that. Okay. And that's usually depends on the amount, if it's an override levy or something of that sort, but it's usually 60%. We'll see. There again, no decisions have been made, but if we want to take care of them and infrastructure, our public tax base, all of that total amount that we are getting from public taxes only covers police. Nothing else. Our enterprise funds and everything. So it's people. A lot of people are not aware of that. That only 17% of the fund of the budget actually goes to general fund, and there's some other general fund things, but police takes up about 42 million of that currently.
I couldn't. When I saw the pie chart, I saw a pie chart that says how that's all divvied up. I couldn't believe how much of that goes to the police department.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm the first to say, boy, let's not increase taxes, but there may be some need if we're going to be, and our future is going to be in a positive fashion here. So
right. What is the biggest opportunity that Nampa has over the next 5 to 10 years?
I think it's things we've already discussed about, and that's to do everything we possibly can to keep our youth. You know, you can become an aging out, municipality. Part of that even was shown with the school district closing of 4 schools.
Right.
Well, what does that tell you? It doesn't have the student population to fill those buildings. Now they did great things. Boys and Girls Club went in one. They have an alternative school and another. So they've done different things. But that's telling you, that's just to me an indicator that our demographic, and God bless our senior citizens, because I'm one of them. but we need to keep our youth. And so anything we can do, we talked about attainable housing. We talked about parks, making sure that our kids and sports programs. Rick was so high on the sports programs, making sure. And so, but anything anyone volunteers, etc., are doing to encourage our youth, to mentor our youth,
right,
to help them become our future leaders. To me, that's the most important thing.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for sitting down.
Hey, thanks.
Is there anything else that you want to add that we didn't already touch on?
Unification there again. I'll be saying this for months ahead. That Mayor Hogaboam, that was such a important aspect of whatever we could do. I don't have answers how that happens. Our six council people up here, like I said, I don't think anybody wants them making always the same decisions, but we need to model respect for each other. And then our citizens, like I said, new or ones who have been for all decades, please consider other people's needs, sharing the care, right? And there are adults out there, so you can't force somebody to do that, but hopefully through example and modeling and encouragement that these folks are showing, and our department heads and our leaders, I know they're showing it to their employees, or 800 plus employees,
right?
That will trickle out and down, and hopefully get us down the road further as far as the unification.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw one more question in here.
Okay.
What's your favorite thing about Nampa, and why is Nampa better than every other city in the Boise area?
See that sign up there?
Yeah.
In God we trust. I really think that's I'm not saying that there's not other conservative, God-fearing municipalities, but we have it up there in writing,
right?
And the new mural we're going to be celebrating today. That's going to be written on a part of that mural.
Awesome.
And so that distinction, and I'm not ever fearful of talking about faith in God. And because you can have God, and I don't like the word idol, because he is so personal, and so on. Or you can have the other G, government, as your idol. And I'm sorry, even though I'm a mayor of a city and this is a government run, but you better have God in prayer daily. In my case, that's up to the citizens whether they do that or not. But I know most of these council people also feel that way, and that's why that is up there. So
awesome. I love that. You can't serve two masters.
No.
If you found this video helpful, be sure to subscribe to the All Things Nampa YouTube channel. And again, that newsletter. We are posting everything on there every single week, interviewing different local officials to help bring you the most up-to-date information about Nampa. Until next time, I'm your 4th generation Nampa neighbor, Isaac Crace.